Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Umineko, Dawn of the Golden Witch. Uh, Hello, cat. Thank you for lurking. I hope you enjoyed the game. And yeah, hello everyone. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all having a good evening. Let me start with firing up the game, as always. Because it is, well, it's loud, so I don't do that beforehand. Like, you know, one of those pro streamers. And then we'll do the content warnings, as always. And then we'll do a little recap. You know. A little recap. I said the same things twice. Alrighty then. Let's start. Before that, just in case, I still don't have that second monitor that I said I was gonna get last time because reasons. Mainly the reason being I'm lazy and bad at planning, so I can't see the chat easily, but it's up there. I'm watching you. I'll just be a little slow to respond, just in case. Alright, our content warning for Umineko. Erica, a terrible person who's going to do terrible things. But I kinda like her anyway, even though she absolutely fucking sucks. Yeah. Also content warning for character deaths, detailed descriptions of gore and body horror, child abuse, discussion and mentions of suicide, and misogyny. And that goes for this entire arc. And next arc I will update it to include some other stuff that's going to be coming up, so yeah. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. So, last time was another hectic episode, really. A lot happened. We learned a little more about the situation that the person in the locked room is in. That's a sentence, right? Doesn't matter. It's fine. Basically they're locked in a specific red truth locked room situation, so certain conditions have to be met for them to escape, including the chain remaining on the door at all times, which, well, the door is one of the few means of escape that you would have, but it has to be on there. So how do you get out? You know, that's the question. The chain lock also tried to strangle whoever was in the locked room. So that was exciting in the worst way. Then Chick Beato, in a very sweet but potentially slightly misguided move, decided to bake cookies for Battler, who she still refers to as father, which is very awkward for everyone. Especially Battler himself. So he was not pleased with that. Kanon and Jessica had a talk about, you know, their budding cute romance. And then Anja and Featherine had a talk, leading from that, about what it means to be furniture, and why furniture doesn't have the right to love, as has been repeatedly stated. And what that really means, and if that's like a metaphor for something, and what that could be. And Feathery knows, but Anja hasn't figured it out yet. And yeah, it's a tricky situation. And then we return to Battler, who I believe is now alone in his study after kind of cruelly rejecting, you know, the cookies and chasing everyone out. So he's probably in a real bad mood today. I'm first going to drink some tea, though. tea is very warm. It's very warm. After chasing all the others out, only Valor remained in the study. There was no color in this dimly lit room. However, for just the short time that the plate of cookies had been placed there, the room had seemed at least a little cheery. Valor's gaze drifted over to the desk, which no longer had anything on it. When he did, the cookie plate that had been there until a second ago was revived. However, it was an illusion. Though the cookies could be looked at, they could not be touched, much less eaten. If Balor wished, he could make it possible to touch them or eat them, but it would be an empty sensation. It would only give the touch and taste that Balor desired. He no longer had any way of knowing what kind of cookies they had actually been. Oh no, not this song. This song makes me so sad. In a reception sofa facing Balor, a cloud of gold butterflies slowly gathered and took the form of the old Beato. Oh, it's been a while. Come on, have a bite. It's not every day that I'll make these by hand. Have no fear. I'm confident in how well they've turned out. Hearing that from a lady makes them all the more dubious. Seriously. Any cookies you made would obviously have some kind of strange poison in them. Shocking that you would think so. Even if I did put something in, it'd be no worse than the kind that does this, and maybe that to your you-know-what. What did that even mean? It's because you do that sort of thing all the time that Balakun will never agree to eat them. Huh? Putting things in someone's food is pretty basic, isn't it? Fingernails, bits of hair, magic charms, fragments of love. What would you people put in? This is another torture Sam with making him do all the voices day. I forgot Beelzebub's voice entirely. She had one. And I'll just make up a new one on the spot. Yes, ma'am. I wouldn't put anything in them. I just eat them all myself. Obviously. Do you have to be so predictable? Well, they say a girl's gotta grab by all three sacks. The first step is the stomach, right? Next comes the wallet. So what could the third one be? If I could catch a guy's attention, I'd want to make him sacrifice his body, heart, and soul to me. That's why I pour all my power and affection into my cooking. In any event, giving someone food that you've cooked yourself is probably a frontal attack as old as time. Ridiculous. How pathetic to think that you require such tricks to grasp a man's heart. Oh? I'd be very interested in hearing how much experience you have in grasping a man's heart, One-sama. Just all the voices. Paddler, there's nothing weird in it, so have a bite. Don't think you'll ever get a chance to eat my handmade cookies again. There probably won't be another chance. I slowly stretched out my hand, out to the illusion of the cookie plate, and touched it. Just before I did it, it became a cloud of gold butterflies and vanished into the darkness of the study. The illusions of Ronove and Virgilia also disappeared. However, the illusion of Beato alone still remained on the sofa. Is there something that does not satisfy you? Not this song too. Are you really going to make me say it? The more the new me differs from the form you wished for, the more you are reminded that I can never be revived again. Correct? If you let a good woman get away, you never get a second chance. So, only now you finally realized what a good woman I was. Shut up. If you never appear again, that'd be your relief. Beato lay sprawled on the sofa and looked up at the ceiling. Balor also turned his back and moved to the window. For a while, there was silence. I think you understand, but I do understand. The me you were expecting has already disappeared. I know. Even though that Beato is you without a doubt, she's a different being than the former you. And I can say with certainty that you will never revive again. My soul, femininity, sparkling personality, and splendid character were cultivated in 1,000 years spent as a witch. Unless an exactly identical 1,000 years is traversed, it is impossible to become me. In short, from the very moment you decide to create me, my personal history will be different. Yeah. That damn burn castle is already guaranteed that you'll never revive. However, you still hope for it, don't you? One day, the new me trips and lands on her head, and all her memories of the past are spectacularly restored. You're hoping for something like that, aren't you? A delusional plot like that wouldn't even pass in a light novel these days. Shut up. Don't pretend you didn't do the same. You've waited and waited for me to remember and take notice. Then what? Does this mean that our relationship now is exactly the opposite of how it once was? Well, there was a time when I continued the game believing that you would eventually notice and remember that a miracle would occur. How did it feel when you were playing those games with me? As they say, look inside your own heart. It's tough. If only she didn't look so much like you, I wouldn't be so confused about how to feel about her. Well, do as you wish. In the past, I toyed with you and tormented you. Now's your chance for revenge against me. The new me will just wander about, ignorant of everything. You may boil or burn her as you see fit. Perhaps it will clear away an old hatred. If she was you, I would. It'd probably make me feel a lot better. But that Beato isn't you. Who is she then, if not me? Someone very like you, but a different person. However, there can be no doubt that she's also me. Yeah. She is you. And at the same time, she's a different person. In that case, the new me is most unfortunate. She's being treated like a plaything in my place. How truly pitiable. That might be the contradiction inside me. Because the new Beato seems like a different person, I can't accept her. Even though I know she's a different person than Beato, she keeps reminding me of her. In that case, think of her as my daughter. They're really just piling on the sad songs today. Your daughter? Consider her a blood daughter of mine who closely resembles me. After all, she is my double, but hasn't lived 1,000 years, so calling her that is not incongruous. True. Imagine that I have died, left behind a daughter, and entrusted her to you. That way, won't it become a little easier to think of how to deal with her? That's actually a good analogy. It's unlike you. Do not jest. That is my daughter. She is the child I left behind after my death. You are free to press my likeness upon her. You may also let loose your pent-up resentment on her in my place. Making her bear my sins and torturing her as you please may allow you to give vent to your emotions. If that is not to your taste, you can also guide her down the right path so that she does not end up on the inhumane road that I have tread. She was made to devote herself to you since the moment of her birth. If you wish, you can mold her into any shape you desire. With a miracle of 1,000 years, she might even become me. So I could even strip her and drag her around with a chain like you did to me once. Yes, at this point, even greater humiliation would be possible. So, she is both your double and your daughter, huh? Without a doubt, she is exactly the same person, the same piece, which was created once more by the rule called Beatrice. However, when I can't accept it that way, I can interpret her as being Beato's daughter. This served as a clear guidepost on how to interact with her and smooth the uncertainty in my heart. And finally, I could understand how cruel I had been to her just now. My tears poured to the ground, and when I followed them with my eyes, I noticed that a white card about the size of a business card had fallen onto the floor. It was the message card that had adorned those cookies. I had rushed her, telling her to clean up and leave right away, which is probably why it had fallen to the floor unnoticed. I picked it up and read the message on it. It was extremely short, pure, and sincere. It brought tears to my eyes, so I was sure that I could read it. And yet, my eyes were so blurred with tears that I couldn't see anything. The flood of light and sound slowly dissipated. The silence that followed was not broken by any noise, not even the sound of the wind and rain outside that had been so clearly audible moments before. Both Jessica and George timidly opened their eyes. Where in the world was this? It was a strange room that they had never seen before. It looked like a Western tea room. Its furnishings were stylish and expensive. It felt as though a dignified person must own this room. Preparations for black tea were set on the table, and so was a chessboard, which seemed to be halfway through a game. However, there was something strangely out of place. The black and white checkerboard pattern made it feel like chess, but it looked like a very similar yet totally different game that no one knew of. In the same way that it both looked like chess and not like chess. The furnishings of this room, no, the room as a whole, looked at first glance like a Western tea room, but also felt like something completely different. Just where is this place? Jessica-chan, Kanon-kun. Shannon? Where's Shannon? I'm right here, George-sama. And I'm here, milady, George-sama. We apologize for bringing you to a place like this. What on earth is going on? You took out something that looked like a butterfly wing and it started shining, and then... The same thing happened to me. Kanon-kun took out this golden butterfly brooch thing and it started to sparkle and... Milady, George-san, first of all, please allow us to apologize. And please stay calm. Something strange is about to happen. That strange thing will probably test us. I forgot how to do Shannon's voice. I'll try again in a sec. Test us? Do you mean that trial you were just talking about? That we have to overcome if we want to be together? Is that it? A trial? I haven't explained it to you yet, milady. My apologies. But please, if your words just a second ago were the truth, please lend me your strength. I will give it everything I've got, so please. I'm not getting any of this. Do you know something, George Nissan? A bit. I'm just as surprised as you about what's happening now. But if they say that this is an unavoidable trial that's essential for us to go through, I intend to take on whatever may come. A trial? Kanon-kun. The brooch. Yeah. The two of them brought the halves of the broken golden butterfly brooch closer to each other. As they grew closer, the strength of their bright yellow radiance increased. Jessica-chan, I want you to brace yourself for this. I am already mentally prepared. What are you talking about? I don't have a clue. What the hell's going on? It's a trial. A test for a pair of lovers. Huh? George spoke those corny words without any hesitation. It was such an embarrassing line that Jessica couldn't help turning red. But the expression on George's face, which was so serious that it was almost grim, forced her to tense up as well. Shannon and Kanon were just as serious. with a glow in their eyes, as though they were taking part in a sacred duel. The pair of them brought the two gold butterfly wings together. Then, the wings they held became a single brooch and regained their magical power. An even more intense light filled the room, and the scene was burnt into the retinas of all present, as the brooch shattered and two shining things flew out of it. Oh no. People live for the sake of love. Yes, this world is love itself. Oh, how great is the power of love. Love is everything. Suddenly, the voices of two people they had never heard before rang out. What was this? Who were they? George and Jessica nervously opened their eyes. When they did, they saw that two demons had appeared there, almost as though the brooch which had once been split in two had become them. Oh, this is odd, Furfur. Why are we in a place like this? It really is strange, Zephyr. There's no one but humans and furniture. Where's the witch? Where's the witch capable of summoning us? Yes, we remember well the name of the witch of the contract, don't we? Why don't we try calling her, Furfur? Yes, you're right, Zephyr. We know the name of the witch of the contract, the Golden Witch. Then, let's try calling her name. All together now. Beatrice! Given their manner, exaggerated like a theater play, and their slightly ridiculous style of talking, it would probably be hard to immediately comprehend the great power these demons possessed. When the two demons called Beatrice's name, a cyclone of gold butterflies picked up throughout the room. Then, it took the form of two golden witches. What's this? There are two Beatrices. Well, there are two of us as well. Why shouldn't there be two Beatrices every now and then? This is my double and my little sister. We two are the same, and as a single person. Pleased to meet you. It has been a long time, Beatrice-sama. Am I dreaming? I feel the same. Still, it's too early to get dumbfounded. Unlike Jessica, George had maintained his composure even during this bizarre scene. After all, Shannon had already told him what would happen next. Demons of the contract, it has been too long. Zephyr. And you too, Furfur. Ah, long time no see. You seem to be in high spirits as always. But look at your cute little sister here. Those juicy eyes must have the taste of white peaches when they grow teary. What? I wonder. Zephyr and Furfur latched onto Beato from either side, wearing strange smiles. Each movement they made was exaggerated yet polished, as though they were acting out a play. Leave it at that for now, demons of the contract. To think that tonight will be the last time you see that mischievous spirit. It will be dearly missed. The last time? The brooch, our vessel, has already been destroyed. In other words, our role is now finished. Yes, it has been fun, Beatrice. However, it was decided when the contract was made. It was decided that we must lend our power one more time before our final farewell. So, this is truly the final miracle. Once is enough for the miracle of love. After all, eternal love will never be needed a second time. There you have it. Lovers male and female. Gathered here are those cursed, absent a miracle, to unsuccessful love. The power of the golden butterfly brooch, which can grant such a miracle, is your last chance, and, like it or not, this chance is limited to this evening. This miracle can be given only to a single pair. I won't lose. Yeah. Let's both give it our all. Shannon and Cotten exchanged a serious gaze. Both had already readied themselves to fight for the sake of their love's success. I don't really get it, but I don't want to borrow the power of some strange demon. Jessica was finally starting to figure out the direction things were headed. These demons were probably planning to pit her and Cotten against George and Shannon. Let me be totally clear. We don't need your help. Cotten-kun and I can handle our relationship by ourselves. I'm not going to be pressured into turning to some shady demons to help. For help? I can read. Or can I? Milady, please listen. If we don't overcome this trial, we cannot be together. Jessica, accept it. This is the only trial that can be imposed on upstart furniture wishing to be joined with a human. More of this stuff about furniture and humans? Yammer on about that all you want. It has nothing to do with us. You still haven't told, milady? I didn't know how I should explain it. Cotten-kun, Shannon, and you, George Nisan. Why are you listening to these creeps? No one can stand in the way of a person's love. Why do we have to get approval from these demons? It's none of their business. Well, it seems we have quite a troublesome blockhead among us. We could begin the game like this, but that would hardly be fair. Couldn't you explain it for her? I don't understand that well myself. Is there some kind of problem with the love between Jessica-san and Cotten-san? Oh my. It seems you understand nothing at all. With our blessing, the pair can cultivate their love at their leisure. No need to worry about suspicious demons. However, without our blessing, your love will vanish, disappear, wither, and decay. How the hell are you so sure? Because it is fate. You may choose not to accept it. You may choose not to resist it. Oh, what happens if you choose not to resist it? That love will end. Well, an abstract explanation isn't so convincing. Well now, how could one explain the dead-end fate you're in? Shinobi and Jessica, the future you two share is far more grim than you realize. If you don't gain the miracle of magic, disaster will most certainly befall you both. The infection within will fester and split the two of you apart. Even I will not be so boorish as to describe the details of that process. However, if you will not believe, Jessica, I will tell you how it ends. Kanon will stop being a servant and will leave the island. For all eternity. You will probably leave the island yourself in search of the one you love, but such a venture will doubtless be in vain. Yes, and then you will mourn and hate. Hate who? You. Me. No, the you of this moment. With a dramatic gesture, the two of them pointed at Jessica. They were saying that, if she passed this by, it would be herself who would regret it later. What the hell are you saying? When you have lost the one you love, you'll realize how much you hate the person you were when you ran away from the trial to complete that love. Yes, we are messengers from the you of the future. Please, at this very moment, take your love seriously and fight. And if you don't listen to the message of the you from the future, the foolish snake eating its own tail will keep on gulping. The endless cycle of suffering will swallow itself and simply vanish. What the hell are you talking about? Jessica's confusion showed up on her face as anger. However, a memory of something she had heard a long time ago surfaced in the back of her mind. Unlike Nason, I don't plan on working here for many years. After just a few years, or possibly... If Nason ever decides to stop working here, I think I'll stop working too. Kanon-kun. If you give up on the miracle of magic and leave it to Shannon and George, they will be joined and leave the island. After that, Kanon will leave the island as well. That is an unavoidable fate. Then what if they can obtain the miracle of magic? Of course, Kanon will remain on the island, by Jessica's side for all time. He will probably be able to start learning music with Jessica as she wished for. How their relationship will progress afterwards is a matter for the two lovers. They may deepen their relationship slowly all by themselves, as Jessica wanted. However, if that happens, George-san and I will not be joined. For the sake of our own happiness and futures, we are fated to fight. Are you kidding me? What the hell? So if we are joined, the other pair will split apart? What kind of demon's game is this? Don't be mistaken. You will not be taking something from each other. Without the power of the golden butterfly brooch, neither love is fated to bear fruit. And who the hell decided that? It is due to your sin of falling in love with furniture, which is not allowed to love. Didn't Kanon clearly reject you, saying that furniture was not qualified to love? Knowing that, you chose Kanon as the one you loved. I won't let you get away with saying you didn't know. Though she couldn't accept any of it, Jessica was unable to argue back. Then, George spoke up with that soft tone he always used to smooth things over. However, his expression was still ruthlessly serious. Jessica-chan, can't you think of it this way? Think of it what way? I love Shannon. I am prepared to overcome any and all trials and obstacles that stand in the way of us being together. What about you? Well, yeah, one or two setbacks aren't gonna stop me. I'm tougher than that. Yes, that's what this is about. Right now, we are being tested. Tested to see who can display the strength of our feelings more strongly. Are you actually satisfied with this insanity? There's no need to be satisfied. When I gave Shannon that engagement ring, I swore to fight all trials and barriers that stand in my way. No matter how unreasonable or incomprehensible those trials might be, backing down is not an option. George spoke clearly, then looked at Jessica with a cold gaze. By now, Jessica almost understood. If she kept on grumbling and refusing this demon's trial, the game between the two groups would automatically end, with her defeat by default. In other words, George and Shannon would win. Okay. Then, they would gain the miracle of magic. Their love would be completed. And Jessica and Conan would split apart, with Conan eventually leaving the island and never seeing her again. Personally, nothing would make me happier than you backing out of this trial. That way, I wouldn't have to fight you. And it would reveal just how little you actually feel for Kamakun. It seemed as though George spoke ruthlessly, but he was actually being exceptionally fair. If it came to a loss by default, or by default, I guess, Jessica would never be able to clear away her lingering regrets. That would leave a bad aftertaste even for George. We must fight fair and square for that single miracle. Even if I lose at the end, I'll be able to accept it if we both gave it our all. And because of that, I will be able to cheer on the victors from the bottom of my heart. George's determination is quite impressive. After hearing all that, are you still going to run away? The two demons giggled and challenged her. Of course, George didn't laugh, but he too challenged her with cold eyes. And Shannon? Please forgive me, milady. For the sake of being joined with George-san, I am determined not to flinch in my resolve. Even if I know that staying true to my heart will mean the end of your loving relationship. Shannon had never before spoken to Jessica with such serious and solemn words. Jessica was surprised to realize just how strong the determination was that dwelt within her usually weak and clumsy friend. Kanon-kun, I want to start a new life with you, milady. Even if that life means crushing Naeson's happiness, I will not falter now. Kanon was also doing all he could to be strong. Yes, all of them were being serious and frank, and abandoning any naivete they might have possessed. All this about golden butterfly brooches and miracles of magic, and the trial that the demons were giving them. None of it mattered. Only one thing was being tested: whether or not they possessed the strong will to make their love come true. Jessica clenched her fists and hung her head, shaking while biting her lower lip. She was silent, but she would probably gain an unswerving will of steel before too long. She just needed a little time first. The two demons who taunted people with dramatic gestures did not violate the silence that Jessica needed to resolve herself. Love brings about conflict, and this conflict gives rise to determination. As the demons of love, they could understand more fully than any others how noble that determination was. Jessica-san. Furthermore, this magical miracle is something that can be received by you as well. By me too? What do you mean? She had thought this had been about two pairs of lovers. Beato was surprised to suddenly hear that this had something to do with her as well. With the miracle of the golden butterfly brooch, even your wish, that your affection for Balder will be acknowledged, can be granted easily. And without that miracle, you two will also never be bound. It means you're no outsider to this either. To cut across the marshes of love, that is your wish, is it not? We will not make light of your wish. Even your relationship with Balor will eventually fester and rot. Even you, with your optimistic attitude, must understand that this fate will eventually come to pass, barring some kind of miracle. Well... Beato hung her head sadly. She wasn't about to let the cookie incident break her spirit. However, it would have been a massive lie to say that it hadn't hurt her. The more she tried to get close to Balor, the more she hurt him. However, she had been born in order to get close to Balor. She was like a hedgehog freezing in the cold and bunching together with others for warmth. She had approached him because of love and had been hurt for it. If you understand that much, entrusting your fate to a miracle may prove to be of some interest. As they say, an unbought lottery ticket earns you nothing. Zephyr, Furfur, let my little sister join in too. Oh, of course. Welcome, second Beatrice. We were planning on including you from the very beginning. After all, we are Zephyr and Furfur, the demons of love. Is it alright if I join in? If you want to, I don't see a problem. That won't prevent anyone from entering. We'll win against all hindrances and make everyone celebrate our union. Of course, it's the same the other way around. If you succeed in love by defeating us at our best, then both Shannon and I promise to sincerely support the pair that wins. Right, Shannon? Yes, we will not lose. And even if we did, we would cheer you on from the bottom of our hearts. I feel the same. I will not lose. Well, if there's no way out of this fight, let's show them what we've got. Neither I nor Kanon-kun have any intention of losing without a fight. You feel the same, I assume. Yes. If there is even a small chance that that Balor-san will acknowledge me, I'm willing to put myself on the line. Well said. Good going, little sister. Zephyr, Furfur, the actors have gathered. Then let's begin, Furfur. Yes, let us begin, Zephyr. Let's begin this trial of lovers, the fight over a single miracle of magic. They're so dramatic, I love them, but it hurts my voice. Oh, she's back. Oh, she's back. Erica had returned to the room that had been given to her on the second floor of the guest house. The next room over was empty. It was very quiet there. Even pressing her ear against the wall wouldn't enable her to listen in on the voices in the cousin's room. Even with hearing power boosted by the detective's authority, it would probably be impossible to make out anything. This room was the furthest down the hall, a long ways away from the cousin's room.
Last time, my room was right next to theirs. I see. So he's placed my room further away this time.
The powers of authority given to the Game Master permit this level of modification to the initial arrangement. It is perhaps a quite reasonable first move.
Well, that suits me too. I have no desire to listen to those brats' squeaky voices as they play cards.
This whole time, Erica had been sitting at the desk working at something. She was preparing some of those duct tape seals from before. She had asked Kumasawa for the stickiest tape available. She drew a complicated, unforgeable signature on it with a permanent marker, then added slits through it. By sticking this over a place that she wanted to prove had remained closed, she could create a powerful seal equal in strength to the Red Truth. Those menacing seals had cornered Natsuhi so thoroughly in the previous game. She actually has duct tape, oh my god. She actually has duct tape, oh my god. She has duct tape. Ah, what a good day to be alive.
Great.
Is something wrong?
He got me. That Balor doesn't let anything get by him, does he?
Erica shrugged and showed the piece of duct tape she had cut off to Delanor. By sight alone, Delanor couldn't tell what had annoyed Erica. However, as soon as she held the tape, she realized the difference right away. This won't be any good.
Yes. It's barely sticky at all. This won't reach even close to the Red Truth.
Even duct tape can be of low quality, and it sometimes gets weaker with age. The tape Kumasawa had found was a bit too weak even for normal use. It wasn't nearly sticky enough to be used as a detective's seal. It is possible to tear it off cleanly. This cannot serve as proof of a seal.
I guess Balor isn't totally incompetent as I thought.
As totally incompetent. He probably tampered with all the duct tape on the island using the authority of the Game Master. Letting Erica get her hands on duct tape gave her a fatal weapon to use against witches. The previous game had proven this fact. And so, Balor had removed that weapon from the entire mansion. Most likely, all possible substitutes for duct tape have also been tampered with.
Probably. Well, it isn't really so bad. At least this way, I won't have to look like a fool crawling all over the outer walls in the cold rain.
Erica tossed the duct tape aside and flopped spread-eagled onto the bed.
Well, detectives do have a penchant for puffing on a pipe while waiting calmly for a crime to occur. I doubt there'll be any part for you to play until the first twilight begins. So why not vanish off somewhere and take a smoking break? I imagine that looking at my face will do nothing more than tire you out.
I do not smoke. I am just a kid.
Oh, really? I wish I could. Well, only if it really is as refreshing as smokers claim.
It seems that you are not in high spirits.
Does it look that way?
Erica answered lazily, still looking up at the ceiling. That in itself was half an answer. The silence between the two was filled by the sound of the wind and rain. It was so quiet, that it was hard not to listen to the ticking of the clock. Lady Erica, may I ask a question?
Depends on what it is. The answer's probably no, though. Well, we're just killing time anyway. What is it?
Erica was probably bored as well. Or maybe the sound of the rain was making her sentimental. She assented, which was very unlike her. Why is it that you hate magic?
Oh, you mean that thing downstairs with Maria?
That was nothing more than a foolish trick to deceive children. Everyone knew that. Was it really necessary to go so far to destroy that illusion? I cannot understand. It had been a childish fight. Erica didn't need Delanor to tell her that.
Well, I am a self-proclaimed intellectual rapist. I can't stand having magic confuse the truth.
And so, you feel pleasure from exposing that? I sense a different emotion.
A different emotion? What's that?
To me, it feels less like pleasure, and more like a different, negative emotion.
You really are a murder doll, aren't you?
Even your eyes are like knotholes. My apologies. Please forgive me. Erica, if you keep being mean to Delanor, I'm gonna make it double the content warning. Because how fucking dare you? Honestly. Erica rolled over grumpily, turning her back to Delanor. Because of this, Delanor couldn't see her expression. Even so, for some reason, she could guess that this completely unobserved expression was one of pain. Interpreting this to mean that Erica wanted her to go away, Delanor gave a bow and made to leave. Then, Erica suddenly spoke. The words came so far out of the blue that Delanor doubted her ears. She had to ask Erica to say it again. What did you just say?
I love you.
It really was out of the blue. Delanor wanted to ascertain what Erica really meant, but the latter still had her back turned, and her face was out of sight. Thank you very much.
I was going out with another girl before, but I've completely broken up with her. Others are going to be jealous of us and say things that aren't true, but don't pay them any attention. I'm going to devote my whole life to you, so I want you to do the same for me. Let's find happiness together.
Delanor avoided asking what she was talking about and stood there in silence. For a while, Erica kept on speaking in that dull and emotionless tone, repeating soppy phrases that might have popped up in some shoujo manga. Then, unexpectedly, she once again followed up with a complete non sequitur.
A new wallet.
Of course, she had no idea what Erica was saying. However, with her back still to Delanor, Erica kept on saying disconnected words. A strange cat keychain. A different style of cologne. A music tape that's not his style, which he said he borrowed from an acting colleague. A colleague asked him to come and he couldn't turn him down. Work suddenly called him in. His buddy called him up and he couldn't get off the phone. He made too much curry. He started going to theater practice more often. He started folding paper towels differently. Thanks, I've already eaten. He knew more than before about cosmetics. Sorry, I was sleeping. The toilet seat was left down. He spent the night over at his stage friend's place. Me and my acting friends at the party there. Someone just left it behind. The drain and sink were cleaned out. There were receipts and point cards from places he didn't usually go. The muddy soles are evidence that you went out on Monday when it was raining. It matches the strange symbol on the calendar. None of your theater friends have hair this long. Leading questions. How do you know the plot of a movie you haven't seen yet? Evidence, circumstantial evidence, observation, surveillance, tracking, tailing, information gathering, wiretapping, asking around, questioning. I found plenty of evidence that I loved you. I found plenty of evidence that you loved me. But I can't find any evidence that you haven't been cheating on me. Give it a rest. If you love me, then trust me. If you can't do that, then you don't love me anymore. How could I love someone like that? I'll treasure you for all my life, but I want to do well in theater just as much. You said you liked seeing me act, right? So why are you telling me to stop acting now? Why do I have to choose between you and acting? What's wrong with you? I'm seriously tired of this, alright? Look, if all we do is fight when we see each other, maybe we both need some time to cool off, okay? I need to concentrate for my next performance anyway. One of my colleagues, she suddenly told us she won't be able to perform. I need to rewrite the script by tomorrow. I don't have the time for this. You know what? If you really find it that hard to trust me, we're through. Don't bother coming over again. Just go home. I don't love you anymore. Stop crying. God, you're obnoxious. Go kill yourself, you creep. Stop shouting, damn it. I've got neighbors. Just get the hell away from me and never come back. Erica. Actually, you know what? We now have the answer to the question, who hurt you, when it comes to Erica. And oh, wow. That was not okay. Like, she sucks, but still not okay. Don't tell people shit like that. What the fuck?
Without love, it cannot be seen. Ha! That's backwards. Because of love, you end up seeing things that don't even exist. It's nothing more than an illusion. One that no one except you can see, and one that even you can never touch. Without love, humans would never need to see that fiction. Because we can see it. We doubt. We suffer. We cry out loud. Right now, I'm happy. Though it may be temporary, I have become the Witch of Truth. As I am now, I no longer need to worry about being tormented by non-read words. What about you? How would you have countered my endgame? How would I? That useless man wasn't fit to be my opponent. I was wondering how you would have countered it. Delanar was suddenly thrust into the position of Erica's opponent in the witch's game she had once challenged that man with. Delanar shared in the fragments of Erica's past, allowing her to grasp the full situation. The board was reproduced in full inside their heads. The situation was one-sided. Erica's side had constructed a blue truth based on countless bits of circumstantial evidence, had turned all of those into pieces, and was already cornering the opponent. For some time, Delanar thought in silence, and announced her by-the-book response. First move. I request that you submit evidence that I have been cheating. Counter with the blue truth. I present 84 points of circumstantial and physical evidence. Counter with the blue truth. I present 6 points of circumstantial and physical evidence that I still love you. Good. Blue and blue cancel each other out, but the number of pieces used to construct each is overwhelmingly unbalanced. When both opponents meet with the blue truth, the decision is almost always based on which side has more pieces of evidence, regardless of the actual circumstances. This is especially true in the human world. So, by the standard rules, Erica would win. First point to me. Your next move. I will attempt to switch offense and defense. I ask that you, Lady Erica, provide proof that you are not cheating. Perpetual check. That's a forbidden move, since it'd result in an endless repetition of the same question going both ways. Perpetual check. Then I frankly declare that, despite a lack of proof, I still love you even now. Not red truth, and therefore invalid. Even if it was red, that'd be a stalemate. After all, I'd have no move to counter with. Delanar remained silent for a while. She responded quietly to Erica's moves, as Erica drew closer and closer to checkmate. A stalemate is a forbidden move in the game of witches, since it means the ruin of the game. However, in chess, it also represents a draw. Because of this, it is a splendid final move that the weaker player can pull off if they are already unable to win outright. In this situation, Erica clearly had the advantage. It was natural that Delanar, her opponent, would seek a stalemate to obtain a draw. However, that only worked in chess. In the game where witches fought over the truth, it was a forbidden move. So it was already checkmate from the very beginning. Delanar had no way to turn the game around. But that meant that regardless of what the real truth had been, this game would. Any other moves? Oh, witch-hunting Archbishop Protector of the Truth? No. I resign. See, there you go. Erica had succeeded in crushing her opponent with the truth she espoused. That her former boyfriend no longer loved her and was cheating on her. Her opponent had no way to argue back. After all, humans are not allowed to use. A splendid game, a splendid finish from a superior position. Regardless of the truth of her opponent, Erica would win. Could win. A splendid victory. Delanor could only respond with silence. And with that, Erica spoke no more. She was probably done talking and wanted Delanor to leave. Delanor understood this, but even so, she wanted to tell Erica just one thing before leaving. A splendid game, Lady Erica. It's only natural that the detective wins. Even before you became Lady Burncastle's piece, you truly were a splendid wielder. A sentence. You truly were a splendid wielder of the blue truth. However, Lady Erica, humans are only allowed to use the blue truth. And the only thing that can counter blue truth is red truth. And humans are not allowed to use the red truth. In that case, how should your opponent have shown his truth? Who knows? Maybe he should have used that gold truth or whatever, which is supposed to be stronger than the red truth at times. You certainly were the victor in that game. However, allow me to say this as a protector of the truth. What? I imagine it's something unpleasant, so say it and go away. Yes. Our game did end with your victory. However, you still have not denied the 6 points of blue truth evidence that I showed to claim that I still loved you. Even you are human. You are unable to use the red truth that would disprove those points. Later on, I used the detective's authority to have all 84 points transformed into red truth. By the power of my master, I am human, yet superior to humans. A detective and a witch. I am the witch of truth, Furudo Erika. Any other questions? Parting remarks? I have none. In that case, please excuse me. Delanor bowed and disappeared. After that, all that remained was a single witch of truth laughing off a bitter past with an equally bitter smile. Okay, real talk though, like, Erica sucks, and could have easily been wrong, and, you know, took that way too far, but what that guy said in response, not okay. Not okay. Holy shit. Anyway. Erica glanced at the bedside clock and saw that it was almost exactly midnight. Well, I suppose I should get a little sleep. The curtain has finally risen on the second day, October 5th. I wonder if the first of this game's murders is happening somewhere around now. About now. I hope our victims leave us some interesting dying messages this time. She does suck, though. Oh my god, it's been so long since Ava spoke. Give me a sec for some water. Why didn't you discuss this with your mother? This is about the partner who's supposed to support you throughout the rest of your life. That's right. She's the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. And that's why you need to choose very carefully, right? How can you be so rash? Ava and George could be seen beneath the eaves of the guest house. George had revealed his engagement with Shannon. Ava's anger had exploded almost instantly. This had been no more than George had expected, so he had responded with an ice-cold calm. Don't tell me you consummated your relationship already. She told you she was pregnant to force you into a marriage, didn't she? How rude. I'm a strong believer that chastity is to be preserved before marriage. Then why an engagement? I asked her. She accepted. What more could be needed? No, it's all wrong. Marriage isn't as easy as it looks in manga or whatever you're thinking of. What about her parents? Relationships between the two families? You're not some stray alley cat. You are Ushinomiya George. How could you be so rash now, when you might even be selected as grandfather's successor? Why didn't you consult me? I'm consulting you right now. No, not consulting, I suppose. I'm just informing you. I've never pinned my hopes on being selected as grandfather's successor. In fact, I'd rather refuse if it did come to that. I want to build up my own country and castle from scratch, just like father did. Look! Do you realize how hard your father worked to get where he is? That's not something you could duplicate just by imitating him. Do you have any idea how often he was saved by luck and coincidence? Thank you for the follow, Gestro. Welcome to the stream. Hi. I'm playing Umineko. I hope you're familiar with that series, because otherwise you're gonna be real confused. But yeah, hi, welcome, how are you doing? And he got through it because he had you, his wonderful life partner, by his side. Sayo is the kind of person who will support me and transform me into an even stronger man. You've praised me for becoming the adult that I am, but that could never have happened without her. Damn, George, okay. I'm doing alright, just, reading this, story. Also, content warning right on time there. For you and anyone not familiar with the story of Umineko. I also totally forgot Ava's voice, so that's kind of been all over the place. I forgot everyone's voices today. Oh no. Oh well, we'll keep going. Huh? Listen, George. Just let your mother handle this for now. Cool your head and think very carefully. Shannon-chan isn't the only person interested in you, you know? The girl you had that marriage meeting with, Ayumi-san, really took a liking to you. That's the first I've heard of it. I thought you knew. Her parents were also very impressed by you. If you really dream to build your own castle like your father, Ayumi-san is the one who'd really be able to help you, right? Do you intend to betray her feelings? There's nothing to betray. There was never any special relationship between Ayumi-san and me. We just had a marriage meeting and our parents got all fired up afterwards. You made us go out together several times, but we never even looked each other in the eye. Jesus Christ, Ava, why are you like this? Why is she like this? It's the 80s.
she had, you know, she had to deal with a crap ton of misogyny and internalized all of it and is using it against other women. That's why she's like this. But holy shit. Ah. Like, I love her, but she sucks. And at this point, I feel like I've said that about almost every character in the series. Like, I love this person, but they suck. Because everyone kind of low-key sucks in this. Honestly, I think that makes it a better story, because it's more interesting that way. Also, I just realized that George's tie makes no physical sense, and that I can never unsee that. Okay, moving on. Ayumi-san is a well-bred, modest woman. She just couldn't look at you because you're a man and it would be embarrassing and ill-mannered. Yes, it is indeed embarrassing to observe men. If you can't feel anything from her unless she looks at you when she talks, I'll advise her of that. I'm sure she'll look at you from now on. You want me to marry Ayumi-san because it will benefit you. You aren't pushing that engagement for the sake of anyone but yourself. George, how can you say that? Have I ever failed to think about what's best for you? I haven't, have I? How is the parent kanji written? It's stand on top of a tree and look. That's what we've been doing, surveying your entire future from a height far greater than you have access to. And from our vantage point, we can see that you're letting your momentary youthful emotions lead you down the wrong path. That's why I'm saying what I am, even though I know you'll hate me for it. If I didn't care for you, we wouldn't be having this fight. I just tell you to marry whatever strange girl you like and leave you be. You hear me, George? Leave this to your mother. There's no need for you to meet with Shannon-chan anymore. We'll take care of everything for you. Don't worry, we won't have Shannon-chan mistreated. After all, it's thanks to her that you've grown so much, right? We'll take that into account. So, leave the rest to us. George. The fuck? Sometime during Ava's rage, tears had started to drip from her eyes. As those tears had caused him to hesitate, George turned his back and sagged his shoulders. Dude, your mom just told me we'll disappear your literal fiancé for you. And now you hesitate? Now you hesitate. She just literally like pulled up like a mafia move on you. George was, after all, only a child of man. Though he understood that marriage required nothing more than the consent of both people, he couldn't get over his desire for his parents' acceptance. And so, he was torn between the tears of the mother who had always helped him and the fiancé he had chosen, even though the mother who always helped him just said, "We'll help you literally disappear the fiancé that you've chosen." Okay, here we go. Or was he? Was he torn though? There we go. I think it's time. It's time. Now. Huh? All my life, you've done a great job raising me, and I'm truly grateful for that. When I have children and become a parent, I'll become a parent like you. I'll be the kind of parent who most worthy of respect in the entire world. One who can truly fight for his children's sake. George. With his back still towards her, George threw away his umbrella and slowly stepped out from beneath the eaves into the rain. Then, he slowly turned around. It was, without a doubt, the familiar face of Ava's beloved son. However, he stood there now as his own man, self-controlled and independent enough that the blood connection between them might even be forgotten. I think it's about time now. For what? For you to let go of your son, Mother. Let's talk the rest of this out as people, not as mother and son. I am George. You are Ava. Let's drop the because I'm your parent routine, speak for ourselves, and say what we really mean. The reason you want to choose the person I marry is for financial reasons, public appearances, and so that you can posture in that still continuing quarrel between you and your siblings. You have no other reason. Just real quick, I want to save, and wanted to double check if this was actually Answer playing in the background, because I think this is an alternate version. Some of the notes are different. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Or maybe I'm right and just too much of a nerd. Who knows? You do well to just come clean and admit it now. I'm going to start speaking on my own behalf. I suggest you do the same. You'll lose. I'm warning you. George's eyes no longer contained any trace of his love and respect for his mother. There was only a frigid glare as he gazed ruthlessly down at the witch who was trying to bind his future. George, why are you looking at your mother like that? Because I'm not looking at my mother right now. All I see is a wall, a trial standing in the way of the future I'm trying to grasp. You're your own person too. I know that you have dreams and ambitions, and that you're still chasing after those. And I think that's a wonderful thing. We also know how hard it is for a person to chase their dreams without giving up. I need to inherit your wonderful strength. I've learned a lot from my parents, my friends, and Sayo, and I've grown. And that final finished product, after everything I learned and acquired, is the real Ushinomiya George. Now I'll overcome the final barrier. You. Did he just... I forgot about that. What? Ava had disappeared. The pouring rain landed evenly across the ground everywhere. No, it was blocked very slightly in one place. However, there was no one there. Standing on the ground isn't the only way to block the path of the rain. Then, could it be... Yes, I love this song.
Alright then. Sometimes it's good to be brutally honest. I'll speak my mind. So why don't you just lay it out there forever?
In the rain-filled sky, with the moon that shouldn't have been visible behind her, was the golden witch of the future who had finally obtained everything of the Ushinomiya family. Even the drastic change in his mother's appearance didn't faze George. On the contrary, he seemed to be moved by her boldness. because his mother had honestly and truly displayed her true nature. Now I could confidently show her my true self. Here we go, Mother. Here we go, Ava. This is my first step towards escaping from your shackles.
First step?
With that first step, he felt something odd beneath his feet. He knew that this sticky sensation, which didn't quite feel like mud, represented his mother's arrogance trying to prevent him from making that first step.
I used to read to you all the time when you were little, didn't I? Do you remember your favorite story, Journey to the West?
That takes me back. That's probably the first fantasy I really loved. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, wanted to become a god and was tested by the Buddha. The Buddha told him, "If you can jump free from the palm of my hand, I will grant you your wish." Then, Sun Wukong managed to reach what he thought was the end of the world, and found 5 pillars standing there, only to discover that they were the Buddha's fingers and that he still hadn't left the Buddha's hand. Are you saying that's what my first step is like?
Your resistance, your conflict, your anguish, and self-restraint and everything else. All of it is a road I once traveled down. This first step of yours would be overwhelmed by my life. How long are you gonna turn a blind eye to it? Why not look at what you're standing on?
On the pitch-black earth soaked by the pounding rain, there were what appeared to be ominously glowing bands of fade into red, and George had placed his first step directly on top of one. It was deep and viscous, and it held George's foot in place. From Ava's perspective, as she looked down from the sky, it looked like a vast red spiderweb that radiated out, with George at the center. That's right. This is me. This is me, tied down by a life of constant instruction, and raised solely for the sake of your ambitions.
No, you're wrong about that. Let me make it so that you can understand. I'll show you. And then you'll realize the truth forever.
The vast, red spiderweb on the ground scooped up George as easily as scooping scum out of a pot. Then, it lifted him into the air like a deer caught in the net and swung him about. Ava's insane laugh was as innocent as a grade schooler happily swinging about a bag filled with her gym clothes. And cruel in equal measure. New CG? New CG? Nice.
Come on, try to remember, okay? What happened on Tuesdays?
Of course I remember. That was piano lessons. I still cringe whenever I hear "I stepped on the cat."
You did violin in kindergarten. That's the sort of instrument you'd expect smart kids to play, right? But you didn't seem to have the talent, so we switched you over to piano. Then, do you remember Wednesdays?
I remember. That was the day for cram school. It was so far away and a real pain to have to travel to.
And Thursdays? Supplemental.
Excuse me, that went really. My voice just did a really weird thing there.
Supplemental lessons. You were just terrible at subjects with memorization, weren't you? You could apply your knowledge, but were horrible at learning by rote. A classic, he can do it if he tries, kid. That would stung. Those are the most annoying words a kid can hear at parent-teacher conference. At a parent-teacher conference, even. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's a British proverb, isn't it? Making you motivated and keeping you that way was the hardest thing to do.
George was bound hand and foot by the bright red spider web, reduced to the witch's plaything. She would innocently swing him around, then smash him about, all with an insane laugh. Again and again.
Do you remember Friday?
Of course. As far as after-school lessons go, that one was pretty unique. Having a parent present while I studied was a trying experience in multiple ways.
Don't buy your child a fishing rod, go fishing with him.
You do like a British education, don't you, Mother?
Yeah. Those lessons were a pain for us parents, too. But for you, that was the most effective one. The monthly fee was high, and it was a pain to have to spend Friday nights there every week. But it was the most effective. That's what I realized. Kids don't grow unless their parents watch over them. If children are sprouts, then parents are the sun. No plants will bud and no flowers will bloom without the sun.
Still bound hand and foot, George was thrown, slammed and smashed. He could do nothing. He was still like Sun Wukong, unable to leave the palm of his mother's hand. However, since he wouldn't surrender, he could still show resistance at any time. Fun fact, if I recall correctly, this song is called Mother. Yep.
Then what about Saturday? What about Saturday?
That's when the tutor came.
He came to our house, which made it so much easier, right?
It was painful to have to invite some other person into my own room, my sacred space, every single week. I hated the sweaty smell he left behind so much that I can still remember it.
He was a wonderful teacher who drilled a scholarly attitude into you. His monthly fees were on par with a lawyer's consultation fee, and it was well worth it.
And then came Sunday, followed by Monday when I didn't have any extra school. The only 2 days when I could have some rest. How ironic. So it was those extra classes from Tuesday until Saturday that were holding me down all this time. I really was just like Sun Wukong.
Yeah, if you think you can escape from the palm of my hand, you can have that arrogance crushed by the Buddha's 5 mountains.
Sun Wukong, who wanted to become a god, was crushed by the 5 mountains of fire, water, wood, metal, and earth, and sealed away. These are the 5 elements that the days of the week, Tuesday through Saturday, are named after in Japanese. Only now did George, who had always admired Sun Wukong, recognize this greatest of ironies.
Just like Sun Wukong, you need some reflection and punishment for your arrogance. If you show that you're willing to reform yourself, I'll release you. That's not being released. It's brainwashing. Ugh. There's no need to think about anything. Why not just leave everything to Mama forever? I'll decide everything for you. That's the best kind of life for you. I'll arrange the most intellectual and selfless woman in the world for you. I'll prepare your every success and even pave the way there. And eventually, you will be chosen for the highest honor of the Ushiromiya family, the position as successor to the head. That's what you think when you can think about beginning life for yourself. A first step. Don't make me laugh. You still haven't even been born yet. This isn't my web you're caught in. You're inside my caring, nurturing womb.
George was slammed against the ground over and over. It was heartless cruelty unlike anything one would expect a blood-related son to receive. However, in Ava's eyes, perhaps even this was a sign of love for her precious son. The human-shaped lump of flesh ensnared in the red net was slammed over and over, then thrown high into the air, where it was caught by a massive spiderweb suspended in the sky. George hung there pitifully as though crucified, still covered in fresh blood and not even twitching. Even if there had been some power to resist remaining to him, the red web holding him there would have held even that in check. The rain, which had been falling non-stop since the beginning, quietly tormented and pitied him.
Cool your head while you're sealed by the 5 mountains. I'm not telling you to stop because I think Shan-chan is a bad kid, okay? She's a great girl, the one who gave you the chance you needed to grow up. But an ill-considered engagement is a whole different matter. It isn't because there's a problem with her. Understand that.
Don't criticize the friend. Criticize the behavior. Right? That's another piece of British advice.
I really did raise you to be a smart kid. No, I still am raising you. Inside my belly, that is. You just need to be nurtured a little longer. Okay, that's enough punishment, so apologize to your mother.
The spiderweb released George reluctantly. Then, it threw him to the ground beneath the cloudy sky. Thank you, Mother. It was all George could do to get up on his hands and knees. Though he wiped the mud away and stood his ground, he still couldn't raise his head. Everything you've done so far, you've done for me, haven't you? Thank you. Thanks for everything.
That's right. You must hate me right now. But one day, you'll be grateful. I'm sure you'll understand how much I loved you.
All those restrictive extra classes from Tuesday to Saturday were your sincere efforts to raise me to be a great man.
That's another British phrase. To wrap a child in blessings is the greatest education of all.
Thank you. I'll give you a British saying in return.
What's that?
Take one chop at every tree, and none of them will fall.
And what does that mean?
Maybe this one is clearer. To spend too much time in studies is sloth. Francis Bacon. The man, drenched in mud and fresh blood, straightened his crooked glasses and slowly stood up. Though he was covered in filth, his appearance had a divine quality to it.
something that could only appear on a self-controlled man, not one who had merely been dozing in his mother's amniotic fluid. I cannot count the number of things I've learned from Sayo. She taught me courage and chivalry, how to be ambitious and witty and humorous and just a little stylish. It's ironic. Almost all of the things you say are so wonderful about me didn't come from you at all. George, you're still going on about? Time to get back in Mother's womb. I'll nurture you in a sea of warmth once more. As Ava howled, another bright red spiderweb appeared at George's feet and tried to scoop him up into the air again. However, in that instant, a powerful magic circle could be seen in the area, surrounding George for just a moment. Faster than he could be scooped up by the spiderweb, George jumped. And with a sharp kick of the heel and a magnificent forward flip, he cut the shackles of that spiderweb apart. What? That smooth movement proved that he had possessed the power to escape from those shackles all along. He had willingly allowed himself to be bound by that web. Everything I owe you for what you've done, I've paid back now with pain. Now I can finally leave the nest for good. It really is necessary, isn't it? To have the occasional argument with one's parents. George, why would you disobey me so completely for that stupid girl? It looks like it really is you who needs to let go, Mother. So, if you're ready... Ready for what? If you're ready, may I fight back? The curtain of spiderwebs that Ava shot out in defense were all too slow. George weaved through them in that instant, and in the next, he was right before her eyes. Ava jumped out of the way of a kick that would have knocked her feet out from under her, then blocked the second half of George's double roundhouse with a high kick of her own. I guess there is one extracurricular activity I can thank you for. Oh, and what day of the week was that? It's all the martial arts classes you made me attend whenever I had a long break from school. I'm glad, George, to hear you're grateful for at least one thing. Your mother is happy. Ava's swift feet flashed like lightning. Low, 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 mid-level attack. As George's head fell forward, she caught it in both hands as though she was about to smash it against the ground. It was then met with Ava's knee, as it rose like a bolt of lightning from the earth. You should have learned Muay Thai too. It would have been more fun to have learned it with you. You're right. I had the most fun when I was learning martial arts with you. Then now is the most fun. Isn't this fun, George? Isn't it? Do you find it fun, Mother? To play with your son like this? Yes, I do. You're my darling son, and I'll give you lots and lots of love inside my belly. I even love the way you kick inside me. Got it. But this kick's coming from the outside of your belly.
Why?
George buried his knee sharply into Ava's abdomen. An instant before she felt the pain of that fierce attack, Ava watched her son's kick with a proud smile, and then she vomited. You're getting on in years, Mother. Maybe it's about time you held back on wearing childish clothes like that. George! Her chin still covered in vomit, Ava looked up at George in twisted anguish. She could see how pathetic her face was by her reflection in his glasses. Both you and I need to leave our childhood days behind. So long, Mother. The violent lightning and rain made time freeze. George's beautiful kick had stopped an inch from Ava's chest. However, the power of the red magic surrounding George had already pierced Ava's body. Though he had stopped without hitting her, blood poured out of Ava's back. No wound had been left on her chest, but the heart inside it had been struck through. Ava slumped backwards and landed in a puddle with a splash. There were no convulsions. Her life had been ended without leaving her even an instant to writhe about in pain. I know you're somewhere over there. Gap. As he straightened his glasses, George spoke to the rose thicket behind him. Then, a pitch-black hole opened in the air there, and Gap jumped out, to our great joy. Impressive! Even considering that it was before her ascension, you managed to defeat Ava Beatrice. I thought you were there. Thanks for not interfering. I'm glad we were able to keep it between mother and son. Don't thank me. I wasn't here. You summoned me just now. It doesn't matter anyway. I skipped that line too quick. I have something to ask of you. Do I have some duty to listen? Will you not do this for me? With his back still facing her, George reset his glasses. The threat in his voice held the solemn presence of a king who ruled over demons. His Majesty made Gap gulp, and she licked her lips before bowing respectfully to his back. I like studs, but I like monarchs even more. Your wish is my command, your demonic majesty. I want you to lay her body to rest in a place fitting for a woman who admired the head of the Ushigamiya family, and who lived her life with the misguided dreams of that position. So, in Kinzo's study? No. The VIP room would be good. That never-opened VIP room on the second floor of the mansion. Ah, that room. As you wish, Your Majesty. Gap approached Ava's corpse and lightly tapped the ground with her right heel. When she did, a large hole opened up, swallowed both Gap and the corpse, and closed. After a while, a small hole opened in the air, and the staff Ava always carried, which was marked with the one-winged eagle that symbolized the head of the Ushigamiya family, was spat out into a puddle, because the corpse would no longer have any use for it. George slowly approached that staff,
and stepped down hard on the tip. When he did, the staff spun violently into the air, and after passing by the blue moon which honored the Demon King, it flew into George's outstretched hand. The instant he grasped it, another fierce bolt of lightning struck nearby, and by the time the flash faded, the staff he was holding had become a spray of gold butterflies and disappeared. It was as though George had held the staff up to the heavens, crushed it out of existence. And now, I finished my part. I'll let someone else have a turn. I can't believe you killed your own mother. It's the person who loves you first in the world, and the last one you have to separate yourself from. That's what it means to leave your home. This is the courage I am capable of showing to take Sayo as my wife.
George-sama.
Bravo, Shiroya George. An excellent start. Even though it was just within the game, even though she was just a piece, I didn't like having to kill my mother. However, that was the trial you set me, so I saw it through. He stared at the two demons. The demons looked at each other, then showed their surprise with their now familiar exaggerated gestures. Wonderful! Wasn't that splendid, Separ? Indeed it was, Furfur. George-kun's determination is the real deal. It seems I've misjudged you. Please accept my apologies. George chose not to go along with this almost theatrical conversation. He just quietly looked down upon the game board, found the piece representing his mother, which was right next to his, and tipped it over. This was the trial that Separ and Furfur had set them. For the love of each other, take the life of another. It was similar to the game within Beato's fourth game, where they were each given 3 options as part of a test to select the next family head. However, a pair of lovers would never abandon each other's lives, so they were automatically left with just the option of sacrificing the life of another instead. In fact, it was merciful that the demons hadn't ordered them to take the lives of everyone other than themselves. And besides, it only meant taking those lives as pieces on the board. For the versions of themselves to whom the game board was the only world, this was a tragic parricide. But for these ones who sat around the game board in this witch's tea room, it was nothing more than a movement of the pieces, representing George's will to overcome his parents. However, even if it was just a single life within one of an infinite number of fragment worlds, the fact remained that the demons had forced him to take it. George appeared to have distanced himself from the events on the demon's game board, but Jessica still seemed to resist the idea of stealing another person's life, even if it was only their life as a game piece. Are you getting cold feet? No. The Beatrice that Balor-san desires would not be shaken by the likes of this. Well then, who will take the next trial? It can be anyone. Please choose the next victim. It can be anyone. Let the next challenger step forward. If no one will step forward, that means I win, doesn't it? Yes, that's right.
Then congratulations are in order, Ushiramiya George. The key that leads to successful love between you and the one you cherish. We bestow it now upon you. Wait!
And that is where we'll end it for today. Because that sounds like a good ending point. Yes. Alright. Good ending point. Let's go. Yeah, because it's, we're at the 2-hour mark almost exactly. Perfect timing. And then next time we can dive into the next trial, essentially. Which I'm very much looking forward to. Because then the next bit's gonna be a good one. I like that part a lot. Even though it's also gonna be terrible because people will die, but that's Umineko for you. It's fun. Also, people die. All right. So, one quick thing before I sign off properly, because this is a lot of I'm real happy with this new thing that I did. So I've had the troll face animation built into my avatar for a while, and it didn't quite work with the model because I'm also moving my face around and all that jazz. The one time to the witch laughter, and I fucking fixed it. It just works now. I'm probably never gonna remember to actually use any of the expressions that are in the model, but they're fun to make and fun to show off. So there you go. Here's a troll face for you. Now I can pretend to be an evil witch. I'm not though. All right, let's get some music going, and then I'll say goodbye and stuff. And then we'll be back next week. In terms of the videos for YouTube, last week's episode was uploaded today, which is very late, I know. But that's just how that worked out. I'll try to be quicker with next week's, but I'm gonna be away for a couple of days, so no promises. But I will definitely have it up before the next episode, the next stream, next week on Wednesday at the usual time, which is 10 p.m. GMT +1, I think, currently Amsterdam time. And I might stream on Monday, I might not. It depends on how my trip goes. I'm going away for a couple of days, like I said. I hope I can stream. And yeah, that's gonna be on Monday, 8 p.m. usual time. And that's yep, that's it. If you wanna catch up on Umineko by any chance, there's the YouTube. I think I have a command for that. Yes, there's a YouTube, so you can go there and just watch literally all of it if you want. If you don't, that's fine too. Either way, I appreciate you watching. Whether you're, hanging out over here on Twitch, or watching a VOD, or watching the YouTube video, thank you so much. And see you next time, hopefully. Have a good night. Bye-bye.